Om Jaya Jaya Ramakrishna Bhuvana Mangala Jaya Mata Shama Sutta Ati Niramala Jaya Jaya Ramakrishna Bhuvana Mangala Jaya Subodhananda. Today is the birthday of Swami Subodhananda, one of the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. First, it's extremely difficult to understand the inner life of a spiritual person, or for that matter, any spirituality, because there are no external parameters. There are, but they are inadequate. So, a saint's life is intensely focused on their inner lives. And they sustain this intensity for their entire lives. Unlike us, we'll burn out. We need a vacation, we need a break, we need time out. They don't do that. That's because their inner life, spiritual life, is a life that's uncluttered. It is pure and it is free from all these calculations about what's going to happen in the past, or what happened in the past, what's going to happen in the future. Swami Subodhananda was someone like this. Sri Ramakrishna and all his his brother disciples also said he was extremely simple, not a simpleton, simple. And that means he had, as I say, his words and his speech had aligned. They are not at variance, they are not deviant, they are not devious, rather. So, Swami Subodhananda, moreover, we have been speaking on Vedanta and yoga in its various aspects. At times it has become so abstract and philosophical. And we don't really catch the finer points of things. But Vedanta also can be understood, and rather is really understood, despite all the claims of all the pundits and philosophers, etc., that it can be fleshed out. Vedanta can be fleshed out in the lives of these types of people. So we'll see how Vedanta is practiced and it is dynamic. So we have the idea that you got to extract yourself from everything and go to a higher realm, and you don't have anything to do with this. Vedanta does not insist, at least not in the not in the beginning, but they do insist that you got to demonstrate the divinity of your own being. That's what it is. It's an affirmation of yourself and the world outside, and so it makes things much more easy. It's a positive side of Vedanta. Another thing I would like to mention also, like, we always hear, stay in the now, stay in the present, be in the moment. Yes, all these things, sometimes they appear to sound so beautiful. Try to stay in the present. It's impossible. You may try, of course, you will, but you can never stay in the present, because the present is just a passing nanosecond. It's gone. But then, how do we cultivate this idea of being in the present, being in the moment, being in the now? By thinking of God. By thinking, in other words, by thinking of reality. Reality is ever present. It's always there. So instead of staying in the moment, in the present, and we find that it is more like you are more engaged with your own ego. You can see it. My mind is like this and that, and it's an ego trip at times. So when you think of the reality or think of God, then it's much more easier to stay in the present and at the same time to lead an intense life. So Swami Subodhananda, Swami and Subodh. Bodh is for illumination, enlightenment, realization, knowledge, understanding, all these, bodh. It comes from the word buddh, the root buddh, to know, like Buddha, buddhi, intelligence or intellect. And su is good or auspicious. So this, you can see how we'll go through some of the incidents in his life, and you'll see how uncluttered, unsophisticated he was. I mean, unsophisticated in the sense of not what we generally use the term, but how spiritually he had a direct, you can say, approach to the reality. We take turns and curves, and we want to have everything muddled up at times. And then to extricate ourselves, it takes another time. Swami Subodhananda was born, and his pre-monastic name itself was Subodh. So Swamiji, when he initiated into monasticism, gave him the name Subodhananda, apt. So he was born on November 8, 1867, at a place in Calcutta, North Calcutta, and their family, they owned a Kali temple. I remember going to that temple, and of course, only after knowing that it belonged to them, because I was more or less like a guide to the various monastic, you can say, aspirants and novices. So it was my job to take them around. So one of the things we used to go in Calcutta is this place. It's called a Thantania Kalibadi. So it is not very far away from Swamiji's house, Swamiji's ancestral house, or where M lived in. It was in that locality. So they used to, Sri Ramakrishna, when he first came to the city, he was also living in the neighborhood, and so he was acquainted with this temple. He used to visit this temple. It's now, of course, it's become a very famous temple. It's just on the, just off the street. And his father was very pious Krishna Das, and his mother was Nayantara Ghosh. And as I said, though they were orthodox in their beliefs, yet they used to go to the Brahmo Samaj, which was more like a kind of a socio-liberal organization started by Keshav Chandra Sen. He had three fears. One was, and these people, they speak out their fears. One was fear of drowning, because he couldn't swim. The second was the fear of the dark. He used to get terribly frightened. And so as a young boy, child, he used to sleep in his grandmother's room. And his third fear was the fear of disembodied spirits, ghosts. He was terrified of them, as children do. We just had Halloween. But if a real ghost comes, then you'll see what happens. So later on, he had told Sri Ramakrishna. So Sri Ramakrishna had what he had done is, he had pressed his thumbnail between his eyebrows, and so he used to see a kind of a light around his face and in his skull also. And that light dispelled his fear of. So you know what to do. And when he told his mother, don't tell anybody. Because spiritual experiences should not be told to anybody except your guru. Otherwise, they leave you. Nowadays, we have a lot of people writing books. That was never done. So he said, it doesn't matter, I've told you. I'm not interested in the light, but I want to know the source of that light. This was his approach. Now, he was a student and he was studying. He was good in mathematics and he was brilliant, but he had no interest in that pedantic learning, studies. School was kind of a drag. He was going there. And then one time his father promised him a reward if he would pass brilliantly. And he prayed to God, oh, no, I don't want that reward. I don't want anything to do with that. I hope I fail in that. And he did. He failed miserably. His father also gave up on him. Useless. His father, however, had bought a small book, the sayings of Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Paramahansa Dever Ukti, Paramahansa Ukti, the sayings of Sri Ramakrishna, small, compiled by one of the first compilations by Suresh Chandra Datta, even before this M wrote the gospel. This was published when Sri Ramakrishna was alive. And he read those and it blew his mind. How can there be something like this? So he really must be a great spiritual personality. And he is now hell-bent on trying to meet him. So his father promised, yeah, we'll go one of these days, we'll go to Dakshineshwar and see this. But, when something enters a mind which is simple, it kind of is like a storm. He'll never stop till the whole thing has kind of resolved. So he goes along with his friend. They walk from Calcutta to Dakshineshwar. They thought maybe somewhere, they heard somewhere it's on the banks of the Ganges. And they lose their way, and then they come, they are directed there. So as they come, it was pretty hot and it's a long walk, miles and miles. So they come and saying, see, I don't know what's the proper etiquette, the protocol of approaching a holy person. He tells his friend, you go and do the initial introductions. I'll wait outside. And so what happened was, his friend was Nirod. He goes in, and the Brahmos had, they're saying, all the pranams and all, you don't have to do all the pranams because these are human beings. What pranam? You just join hands and namaste, and that's okay. So they did that. So saying, where are you from? Calcutta. So why is that gentleman standing out there? So now Subodh was a little kind of emboldened. He comes in, saying, where are you come from? Oh, I've come from Dakshineshwar. Then Sri Ramakrishna, he says, this is the first meeting. And then he says, don't you belong to the family of Shankar Ghosh? Subodh was surprised, saying, yes, how did you know about it? Saying, when I was staying in that locality called Jhamapukur, I often visited your home and the Kali temple before you were born. And then he's saying, okay. And then he says, Subodh is okay. Sri Ramakrishna said, I knew you would come here. And he's saying, you belong to the place, and the Divine Mother, that is Kali, she sends people who here to me, those who belong here to her. And so Subodh says, hey, if I belong to this place, what took you so long? So he's saying, things happen at the right time. And so he held his hand, took his hand. One of the ways to gauge a person's mental makeup, Sri Ramakrishna knew all those tricks. He weighed his hand, and Sri Ramakrishna says, you will attain the goal. He knew it, but he can say, no, the Divine Mother says so. He never put himself always in the front. That was his unique, you can say, characteristics. Subodhananda, Sri Ramakrishna. And then he says, sit on my bed. I say, no, I've traveled all over. I've come walking from a long distance. I've touched many people and it's dusty. Yes. No, you sit on my bed. Subodh, he did, and then again he went and sat down on the floor. And then he says, after a while, he says, Mother sends here those who will receive her grace. Come here on Tuesdays and Saturdays. So Subodhananda saying, no, it's not. It's difficult on Tuesdays and Saturdays. So, and then my relatives and family and all, they'll make a big noise out. So he's saying, I cannot take back my words. I have said Tuesdays and Saturdays. You come here. So he was, well, okay. This was what Sri Ramakrishna. He never later compromised. He never compromised. I said this because he knew it came straight from the Divine Mother. So Subodh and his friend agreed. And they said, okay, how are you returning? Oh, we'll go walking. Why don't you take a boat? Say, no, I'm frightened, I'm drowning. I'm not going to go a boat. And then, why don't you take a carriage? Saying, no, we'll walk back home. It's hot and you're here. It's okay. Saying, you take some money there. Sri Ramakrishna used to keep some money for the devotees. So he said, "You are a holy man. How come you have money there?" So he said, "No, the devotees come and keep some money for the sake of other devotees. So you can take it." So, no, we will not take it. And Sri Ramakrishna is insisting, and he is equally adamant, we are not going to take it. I am not going to take it. Then Sri Ramakrishna said, "Your friend will take it, Shirod." So he tells his friend, "No, don't take that money." So here you find, when you stick to your beliefs, you got to really stick to it. Even if your guru now has told you. And he's saying, now we are young, we can walk. When we are old, that's a different thing. We'll take your offer up. So they left. The next Saturday comes again. Both of them come. And Sri Ramakrishna's room was packed with devotees. And then he's seen both of them. He tells all the devotees, "Wait here." He takes them to the steps of the Shiva temple, asks them to unbutton their shirts, sit down, cross-legged, and meditate. And Sri Ramakrishna, what he does is, he touches them from the navel up to the throat. And he's saying, "Meditate." And they both meditated. Okay? They both became deeply absorbed. Subodhananda, he came out of that deep state into this consciousness only when he saw Sri Ramakrishna touching his head back down in the reverse way. First he had raised it up. So in that, his experience was saying the magic touch awakened Subodh's latent spirituality. No sooner had he begun to meditate than his whole body trembled, and he felt a current rushing along his spinal column to his brain. An ineffable joy overwhelmed him, and he saw a strange light within him in which the forms of the gods and the goddesses flashed. His meditation then became deep, and then he lost all ideas of his personal identity and everything. So these are the stages of meditation. So you see, and then Sri Ramakrishna brought him back out and saying, "Do you meditate? You were used to meditation?" "No, a little." So, but I used to think of all these gods and goddesses and all, and I used to read about them. And so saying, "Oh, that's why you could concentrate so easily." Then he asked his friend, "What did you experience?" "Oh, nothing." Maybe like us. So Sri Ramakrishna says, "Don't worry, it will happen, but later for you." Okay. So this was his second. A third visit also. Now he understood his latent spirituality, which had to be opened up. It opened up. So when he came the third time, he introduced him, Subodh, to the other disciples, the young disciples. Because that was also important. When you interact with spiritual seekers of the same or lesser or greater capacity or caliber, it helps you. So he introduced them to Sharat and Shashi, who later became Swami Shardananda and Swami Ramakrishnananda. And they said, "You introduce him to Swami Vivekananda, the future Swami Vivekananda." So here we have, and by that time Sri Ramakrishna already was not feeling well. The fourth time he came, the master asked him to fan him. So he was fanning him. But despite the heat and despite the fatigue, he wasn't feeling any of it, like when he was serving his guru. And then he touches him. Sri Ramakrishna touches him. He's saying, today I've taken away all the desires from your mind. Yeah. What a lucky person. Sri Ramakrishna asked, what do you think of me? Saying, so many people say so many things. But I'm not going to say anything until I have got a direct experience of what you are. And Sri Ramakrishna was pleased, saying, that's good. But later on, of course, saying he was the very embodiment of divinity, of God. He was an avatar. So then he's saying, okay, now, now that you're here and being trained, he was training him. Think of me morning and evening. Take the name of God. So when he touches him during the second visit, that itself is all the initiation. Okay. These are very high types of initiation. These are called Shakti or Sambhavi initiations. The Guru infuses his power in the disciple directly. So he says, see, I cannot, if I have to do spiritual disciplines, why should I come to you? I could have gone to some other guru. I have come to you and you are asking me now to do spiritual disciplines. And Sri Ramakrishna was so pleased, saying, no, okay, just think of me morning and evening, okay. But doesn't mean that he never practiced spiritual disciplines. He did, but he had that kind of faith that this is the blazing fire of spirituality. And why should I practice spiritual disciplines? He can liberate me immediately if he wants. So, at one time, he says, I've heard about all these various gods. In Hinduism, there are various gods and goddesses, etc. So, can we really see all this? Can we see God directly? And here is an answer for all our skeptics. Sri Ramakrishna says, one should call on God from the bottom of one's heart, pray and cry for him. One can see God as one sees two persons talking or walking together. Here it is. One can see God. God is, higher forms of God cannot be seen, cannot be heard, etc. It has to be understood through the sharpened intellect in the cave of the heart, etc., etc. Here, Sri Ramakrishna, you can see, you can talk. The same question, Swami Vivekananda asked him. Yes, I see God more intensely than I see this world. This is what actually is. This world is very intense, isn't it? Solid. It has filled all our mind and perception and everything. You cannot deny this. But when you see God, this becomes a pale shadow. It loses its reality. And the reality of God takes over. It is more intensely, more real than this real world. So, and then he says, it's a kind of alluding to the future, saying, those who shall attain spiritual experiences will feel comfortable with my ideas and teachings. He who has faith in me has faith in God. And again, he who does not have faith in me does not have faith in God either. Think about this. It's quite deep. Anyway, we'll go further. He had one habit, and that was tea. Tea was just introduced by the British colonist, because they had kind of got all that tea plants from China, and they wanted to break the trade, Chinese trade. From India, opium was being pushed on them, and tea was being sold to us. So it was tea everywhere. So he had a habit of drinking tea. And we find that he's saying, see, your throat, that's the beginning of Sri Ramakrishna's cancer. Your throat, it can get well if you drink tea. So he recommended drink tea. So Sri Ramakrishna tells another disciple, see, here this Subodh is telling me to drink tea. So Swami Brahmananda, Rakal, he says, tea is hot, it will harm your throat. So Sri Ramakrishna says, sorry, Rakal says tea is too hot, it will hurt my throat more. Here, his simplicity had made Sri Ramakrishna call him as Khoka. Khoka is the boy, young. For the girl child, it's Kuki, Khoka. And now everybody picked it up. Once your name calling, if somebody who gives you a name, that name sticks to you. But he was like that, very simple, like a child. So that's why childlike behavior. Later on, you find in the future, Swami Vivekananda was mighty pleased with him, because Swami Vivekananda was meditating in Belur Math, and after his meditation, he says, oh, hey, he wakes up Khoka Maharaj, he and Brahmananda was sleeping, saying, make me that, what we call today as hookah. Prepare the hookah for me. And Swami Vivekananda was so pleased with this, with Swami Subodhananda. Ask a boon and I'll give it to you. He said, no, I don't want anything. The master has given us everything. Swami Brahmananda was saying, no, ask him a boon. And then he said, grant me that I'll have every day my cup of tea. And saying, so Swami laughed and said, okay, all right, granted. So he was asked later, even in old age, has this boon, did it ever fail? Saying, no, sometimes, but however, it used to appear at night. Just before going to sleep, my cup of tea has come. So when he was asked, who is the greatest of men, Swami Vivekananda or Trilanga Swami? Trilanga Swami was one of those great Paramahamsas who used to live in Benares. And legend says that he was 300 years old. Sri Ramakrishna himself met him, and Holy Mother and all. He was a great soul, great spiritual, you can say, luminary. So he's saying, who is greater, Trilanga Swami or Swami Vivekananda? Saying, Trilanga Swami is the best of all men. There's no doubt. But Swami Vivekananda, he is Shiva himself. He cannot be called a man. So that was his devotion. And anybody saying anything against Swamiji, saying, no, you say, he is Shiva himself. So their spiritual insights had seen into this, the reality. We look at Swamiji and all right. We call him patriot, prophet, this, that, all this. For him, it was Shiva himself. So Sri Ramakrishna was not getting any better. He was taken all medical treatment, etc. So Swami Subodhananda says, you can cure your own diseases. Why don't you do that? So Sri Ramakrishna, do you really believe it? Saying, yes, I believe it. Because the power of their mind was so concentrated, they could cure anything. So Sri Ramakrishna, what you said is true, but I shall not try to. This body has to go now. And I will not be able to, I'm not going to save it. Then he told Subodha, Sri Ramakrishna, promise me that you will never ask me this again. So Subodhananda promised. And we find also others, disciples also saying, you can cure yourself. Just concentrate on this disease and it will go off. But it was difficult for Sri Ramakrishna to have, you say, this mind which has been given to God, how can I take it and put it back on the body? Not possible. So when Sri Ramakrishna passed away, and Holy Mother, he used to go to Holy Mother. She was a great solace. So he connected with Holy Mother. And then one time, he felt a kind of void because his guru was absent. He started walking. He walked all the way to Benares. And as I said, that walking was more to kind of focus completely on Sri Ramakrishna. When in the old days, we don't do this nowadays, itinerant monks used to travel from place to place. They were not just traveling, looking at places, looking at the scenery. They were, as I said, living in the present, focusing on God at every moment, at every breath. That was the recommendation. When you walk, where do you want to go? You remember your mantra, remember God at every moment. So these people were living in the present, living in the moment, and living in God. So this is how he used to, and he traveled to various places, north, south. He did his long tours, and he always traveled without carrying any money, no credit cards also. Yeah. And not any extra clothing also. What he wore was walked. So this is how dependence on God grows. There is a higher reality these people have intuited. For them, it is very vivid, and they depend on that. So one time, he was crossing a river, which was in Spate. It's called a Falgu River in what is called Bihar in Gaya. And suddenly there was a flash flood and it was carrying him. So he shouts out to somebody on the thing, give the news to my brothers at Baranagar Mutt, that is the monastery. And then he tell, Master, this is my final salutations. And then finally he finds water has kind of just submerged him, but he finds somebody holding him by the hand and pulling. And he finds himself on the bank. Another time he is wandering, and in those days, they used to sleep under the tree. So in the middle of the night, he sees a vision of an old woman coming, saying, hey, holy man, get up from here and go some other place. In the middle of the night, I am going. No, you go. There's a police station there. You can go and. Will they let me go and sleep there? Just say that you're a wandering monk, and so he goes there. The woman says, there are a lot of snakes out here, and they don't want to come out here because you are here there, sleeping there. So next morning he comes and checks. Oh, there were a lot of snakes there. And they did not come out because he was lying down there. They asked him, who was that old woman who came? Oh, she was the Divine Mother. She came in that form. So he had various experiences in different. These are just a few things that when Swamiji had established a monastery, etc., he had called, and he's saying, now see, you've got to be preachers, okay? And so all the other brother disciples had to practice speaking, public speaking. And imagine Swami Vivekananda himself standing there. Everybody is now waiting for Swami Subodhananda to speak. It was his turn. And he's trying to give excuses. No. You know, I cannot speak. I'm not articulate. I'm this and that. I'm frightened. Nothing doing. So he goes up to the podium and he's about to speak when there's a big earthquake. It was, there was an earthquake. That was a very, and everybody ran outdoors and the meeting was called off. And then he's saying, Swami Vivekananda is saying, oh, your Khoka gave a earth-shattering speech. Even before he opened his mouth, the earth shook. He was extremely diligent, very, you can say, self-effacing, of course, and also self-reliant. Never used to ask for help, even in his old age. And he used to go from door to door, collect funds for the poor. And this is what he did in times of distress, like in the times of calamities, and even ordinarily. He used to go to door, collect money. He used to look after the gardening. He used to look after the kitchen. Very busy life he led. And when Swamiji was in this very heightened state of, you can say, consciousness, nobody dared approach him. So it was Khoka's job to go and bring him down, because his simplicity was so endearing. You cannot get angry with him. It was like that. So he used to go, just like his behavior was just like a child. So he used to bring Swamiji down from his height, because they knew if his Swami Vivekananda's mind is always at the highest pitch, his body will not last. Many people say, no, oh, Swamiji had this problem, that problem. You know why? Because his mind was pitched at the highest level. When you have that mind at that level, the body cannot keep up to that and suffers. So this was, now Swamiji passed away in 1902, etc. Later on, and he had made a rule, only the president will initiate, give initiation. But Holy Mother, she said, no, why can't the other disciples of Sri Ramakrishna start initiating? So she had sent a message, you start initiating people. And Sri Ramakrishna also appeared to him, you start teaching people. And he had begun to initiate. So I don't remember meeting any Swami Subodhananda disciple. I have met disciples of other disciples, a lot of them, but I never encountered any. And so even Swami Shivananda, his brother, said he should go and initiate, and he used to catch everybody, give them initiation, even children. He's saying, but why did you initiate children? Well, you told me to initiate everybody. I went and initiated everybody. There were some children, I initiated them also. And his initiation was uncomplicated. I'm telling you what I have experienced, do this. I have found bliss, and if you do what I tell you, you will also be blissful. So after his, there's only one kind of a Swami from the US had gone to India. It was Swami Paramananda, and he had taken a movie camera, and he had filmed Swami Paramananda or Swami Nikhilananda, one of these two. Yeah. So there you find Swami Shivananda, like he was very tall, towering. He was a president that time, called Mahapurush Maharaj. And Swami Subodhananda. That's the only, you can say, small video clip we have. And he is so like a thin and like old, but his behavior you could see in that few seconds, very simple. So it's on the YouTube everywhere, I think. You guys can. So compared to Swami Shivananda's physical size, he was like this. So his Khoka Maharaj, Subodhananda, he was easy of access. Everybody could just go and just talk to him. And his daily routine, well, he used to get up at 3:30 in the morning and spend hours and hours in meditation and reading, etc., etc., and in work, of course. His approach to spiritual life was direct, and he wanted others also to have that. Have a kind of direct connection with the reality inside, with God. So one time he fell sick, and then he was taken to a center which is now in Chhattisgarh near Bihar. And so the doctors had said, no, it might be a terminal illness now. So his attendants are all fanning him, trying to keep him comfortable. They're saying, move from here. Saying that, what he says? He's saying, Shri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Swami Brahmananda have come. Can't you see them? He's saying, then he tells the attendant that Shri Ramakrishna told him that he would be cured soon. Don't worry. And he did get cured. But the next time, towards the very end, so he's praying to Shri Ramakrishna, now it's all over, it's enough. Take me back to you. So he says, Shri Ramakrishna appeared and wait for a few more days. So he's constantly in communication with them. And towards the end, he had contracted tuberculosis because he used to go from door to door and amongst the poor and the destitute. So he had contracted tuberculosis, and it was painful during that time, and there were no medicines. So towards the end, his body was wasting away, but his mind was perfectly lucid, clear. And then another Swami goes in, do you remember Shri Ramakrishna? Oh, yes, of course. Clearly. As I said, one's spiritual realizations, which one had throughout one's lifetime, they all kind of gather momentum and they come at the head towards the end. If you never had any kind of spiritual experience throughout your life, don't expect anything to come at the end. If it happens, it's grace. So his entire spiritual life, that all the experiences, all had now come to the very end. And then you saying, yes, I know Shri Ramakrishna is saying, I know. And he found the other monks used to find his eyes moving about here and there, like seeing like Shri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, that they had come. But the others cannot see them. Only he's been able to see. And the monks chanted Jai Shri Ramakrishna, Vedic mantras, etc. and he gave up his body. He smiled and gave up his body on December 2, 1932. Not a very far off time. This was how a simple young boy was converted into a very. And of course, if you take Sri Ramakrishna as saying that the Divine Mother has sent you here. So we all have a kind of a destiny, not your ordinary destiny. We have a divine destiny to fulfill. When you are cognizant of it, then you will be slowly drawn into that ambience. You will put in that channel and then you will see. Then you will think, yes, our job is to fulfill this spiritual or divine destiny of ours, not your material destiny. That has been left to the world of Maya. Then you will know that the Divine Mother not only has guided Swami Subodhananda, but she is guiding each and every one of us. Then you will make her or him or the reality the center of your lives. When that happens, then you conquer death, you conquer life, you live intensely, you live spiritually, and you live in joy. That is what Sri Ramakrishna disciple had exemplified in his life. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. A few announcements. Next Sunday, the topic of the Sunday talk will be Brahma Yoga. Now, what is Brahma Yoga? We have Raj Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga. We have, some time back I spoke on Divine Yoga also. Now we have Brahma Yoga. So, this is an interesting topic and I would like to explore this. And so this evening we have Ram Nam, 7 p.m. Every Wednesday we have Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, the reading and discussion by Swami Brahmatmananda. So please go online for the Gospel of Holy Mother. Thank you. Yeah, the Gospel. Atma Bodh Self-Knowledge on Friday, 7 p.m. Saturday, we have, coming Saturday, we have the retreat, meditation retreat at Tapovan. Starts at 11 and the 5 hour. The potluck, please come and meditate, see what it is like. So yeah, devotional singing group. It's on Sunday, next Sunday at 4 p.m. Raka will take up some of these songs that we sing during Ram Nam. And of course, we have a Sunday school, Mother's Children. The other announcement is Global Vedanta has been, online magazine has been put up on our website. Go and read. It's kind of interesting and well. It's of course free to download. So there are no questions here. These questions can be taken leisurely over tea or coffee. Om